The hauler door closed at Echo Park Speedway, and for 17 minutes, nobody outside knew what was being said. Two drivers had been summoned inside. One wanted the story over. The other walked out and said 4 words that told everyone it wasn't, "We're going to go race." This wasn't a routine conversation. NASCAR was trying to stop something before it became unfixable, and the man at the center of it, Shane Van Gisbergen, made his position clear the moment he stepped outside. "I'm not going to back down or be threatened by someone." That single sentence would define everything that followed. Before this story goes further, here's something worth mentioning. This channel, NASCAR Insider TV, is closing in on 1,500 subscribers, and if you've been enjoying breakdowns like this one, subscribing costs nothing and helps this kind of coverage keep going. A like and a comment with your take on this rivalry go a long way too. To understand how two drivers ended up in NASCAR's hauler, the story has to start at Circuit of the Americas in 2024, only Van Gisbergen's 5th race as a full-time NASCAR competitor. On the final overtime restart, Austin Hill shoved SVG wide and took the lead. Neither of them actually won. Kyle Larson sliced through and stole the race, while the two of them were tangled with each other. Van Gisbergen didn't let it go quietly. He put his bumper back into Hill before the checkered flag fell. Fans across NASCAR discussion spaces have pointed to this exact restart as the true origin point of the rivalry, with many describing it as the moment Hill ran SVG off the track and then blocked the corner he needed to get back through. The tension resurfaced later that same 2024 season at Sonoma Raceway. Another restart, another collision. This time SVG delivered it, pushing Hill off into the dirt on his way to the win. On the cooldown lap, Hill gave Van Gisbergen a one-finger salute. SVG mirrored the gesture back, then turned his victory lap into a burnout that circled Hill's car nearly the entire way around, from the turn 1-2 area back to pit entry. The moment split the fan base, with a large portion calling it the pettiest and most satisfying comeback of the season. For a while, the story went quiet. Different series, different storylines took over the headlines. Then 2026 arrived, and across 4 races, these two drivers collided 3 times. The first came at Pocono Raceway, where contact between Hill and Josh Berry triggered a chain reaction that collected Van Gisbergen, who had no part in the original incident. 1 week later, at Naval Base Coronado, Hill's number 33 clipped the inside wall, ricocheted across the track, and collected both Trackhouse racing cars, Connor Zilisch and Van Gisbergen, ending both of their races on a restart. SVG was furious afterward, stating publicly that he had been taken out 2 weeks in a row by the same driver. Opinion in the fan community split here as well. Some argued it was simply a driver losing control of his car, with no chance of making the corner cleanly, while others insisted there was no way Hill was exiting that corner without heavy contact. Then came Chicagoland Speedway, lap 48, turns 3 and 4. Hill's number 33 Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet was racing clean when Van Gisbergen's number 97 Trackhouse Chevrolet made contact with his rear bumper, sending him hard into the outside wall. Richard Childress called it payback for San Diego and publicly demanded NASCAR investigate. SVG's account was different. He said he was trying to get underneath Hill for clean air, that his car was tight, and that he believed Hill had chopped across his nose. He apologized for the outcome, but denied wrecking him intentionally. Under caution, Hill sideswiped SVG's car before heading to the garage, giving NASCAR 2 incidents to review from the same 2 drivers in one afternoon. On the broadcast, Jamie McMurray reviewed the SMT telemetry data on TNT, and argued the numbers made the contact look intentional, a claim that spread quickly and reignited the debate. NASCAR pulled data, radio transmissions, camera angles, and reviewed prior laps for any sign of deliberate retaliation. NASCAR VP of Racing Communications Mike Ford explained that officials were looking for a smoking gun that would prove intentional retaliation, and they never found one. Neither driver was penalized. The case was officially closed, but the garage didn't treat it that way. RCR spotter Derek Nealand was caught mocking Van Gisbergen's name over the radio after the wreck. Richard Childress continued publicly framing the contact as retaliation, regardless of the ruling. SVG responded with a sarcastic remark about Hill simply grunting if the two of them ever talked things out, a line that quickly became a running joke across NASCAR fan spaces. That is what led to the meeting at Echo Park Speedway. SVG's own admission afterward carried weight. "I don't really want to do it again." He described the sit-down as a weird dynamic and said candidly that he felt more remorseful walking out of that room than Hill did, and that he has more to lose, sitting inside the playoff picture with 7 races left to secure his spot. Hill, by contrast, gave almost nothing away. Asked what happened, his full answer was just, "We're going to go race." 6 days after Chicagoland, Van Gisbergen explained himself further. He said he intended to run it in hard, get inside Hill, and it simply didn't work out the way he wanted. He said he didn't want to wreck a race car, didn't want it to escalate, and wasn't even sure rivalry was the right word for whatever this had been for 3 years. Then came the line that defines the whole story. "I don't want to escalate it, and I'm the one with a lot to lose. But I'm not going to back down or be threatened by someone, but I don't want to fight anyone either." His read on Hill's mentality was just as direct. He's that kind of personality that feels like he's got to get the last laugh and the last one to strike. He threatened that, I guess. It is what it is. The two drivers left that meeting in different places. Van Gisbergen said he felt more ready to move on than Hill did, and left believing he was prepared to put the situation behind him. Hill only said he hoped the matter had been settled. Not that it was, only that he hoped it was. Asked jokingly if he had been grunting during the meeting, Hill brushed it off, saying only that the two of them had a conversation and that NASCAR let them know what they need to do going forward, before adding that he's simply looking forward to racing. The stakes going forward are significant for both. SVG is fighting to stay inside the top 16 in the playoff standings with 7 races remaining, meaning any points lost to a Hill incident could end his championship run outright. Hill is chasing his own title in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, a separate championship battle that still puts him in close quarters with Van Gisbergen on a regular basis. NASCAR officials have said intentional contact becomes punishable the moment evidence removes reasonable doubt, particularly if a driver signals intent to retaliate and then follows through. 5 data points now sit on record between these two: COTA, Sonoma, Pocono, Naval Base Coronado, and Chicagoland. NASCAR has told both drivers directly that they are being watched. Neither side has erased the history that put them in that hauler in the first place, and the next time these two Chevrolets share the same restart, every move will be watched differently, by NASCAR, by their teams, and by every fan who has been counting the incident since 2024. Drop your prediction in the comments on what happens the next time these two are side by side, and share this video with anyone who's been following this rivalry since COTA. If you enjoy real NASCAR breakdowns like this, you'll like what's coming next.